Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Silver Tears Tarot, and welcome to today's reading, which is going to be a soulmate reading, and it's kind of looking at how this moon is impacting things. But I feel like it very much fits in with what we've already been seeing. So um, it'll be a general reading, and I always say this, it'll be a general reading for this collective. So if it does resonate with you, you may want to think about subscribing, may want to think about looking at some of the other videos. Might be some good messages in there for you as well, because they are all very much connected. So the fact that they're very much connected kind of makes some sense when we look into it today and we see, this is the last moon of the year, last full moon of the year. It's a full moon in Cancer. It's referred to as the cold moon, okay? And it's got the feeling of a turning point, but this is something that we've already kind of been seeing, with that world card coming out, end of a cycle. We know there have been a lot of learnings on both sides. So I feel like this fits in with the big picture, but let's see what this moon means for you and what else you need to know about it this time. So let's start by looking at the energy between you to start with. And so this is going to be that energetic and emotional backdrop. We've got a Five of Cups. So a little bit of a focus on something that isn't as, not the positive side of things. And then the Chariot card, which feels like nervous energy in this context. Feels like a little bit of nervous energy. Feels like it has to get out someplace. Yeah, with the Strength card here in the reverse, it's a feeling of not... the fear is winning out. The Strength card is never really one that we look at in... just all by itself. It is very much connected with whether or not fear is winning out. And when we see the Strength card in the reverse like that, we see that fear is winning out in this energy. There is a nervous energy that makes you feel like there needs to be a path forward or that things need to move forward, but it's not necessarily always coupled with the best attitude or the best perspective, because there's a little bit of sadness to this energy. Little bit of, maybe it's that sadness of just everything seems to have slowed down a little bit after this point in the holidays, after this point with everything. And feeling like coming to a turning point is not always an exciting, or it's always got that sense of potential excitement, but it's not always feeling like you're ready for it. And I kind of feel like in this energy, there's a lot of, I'm a little bit tired. Maybe I'm going to be ready when the time comes, but I'm not feeling it right now. So the first thing that comes out here is the Four of Acorns. Let's see if anything beneath it also comes out. Nope, doesn't feel like it has that glow. So we've got the Four of Acorns. Four of Acorns is fire energy. It's like the Four of Wands, and it is all about looking for something that is consistent, strong, allows you to feel a little bit of comfort. And so, but it's like grasping for comfort in, it matches with this Chariot feeling a little bit with the grasping sort of energy. It is not necessarily a certain energy. It's got a little bit of a skittish sort of energy to it. With this Nine of Crystals, though, I really like the way that this feels. So this is a strength that's deep down. So even if that fear seems like it's winning out right now, and there's that sense of skittish, almost just restless energy, there's also a feeling of strength beneath. This is more like the strength of a solid foundation. It's just, there's so much emotion going on at the same time. So be aware that you're not the only one experiencing this. This is something that's sort of happening in this moon. It turns everything sideways a little bit, and there's always feels like something you're not quite ready for or you don't quite know. So that's the energy of the moon. I wouldn't necessarily feel like this. Don't take it too personally, I guess, is what comes from that. So we have the Ten of Crystals here in the reverse. You may be concerned about things, a little bit outsized concern for what it is. So feeling like you are coming up on something that gives you a lot of stress and you wish it was behind you, could have that kind of feeling to it. Almost feels like too much stress, but you're waiting for it to be over. Here with the Five of Feathers, though, there's an internal concern about how to handle things, just how to handle things in general. So even if you are being given the floor, even if you're being given the ability to put your story out there, how does that feel? How does that work? Which things do you feel like you would say? There's a sense of, we with yesterday's reading, an opportunity being out there, but not necessarily a healed opportunity. So, which portions of that are unhealed on their end? Which portions are unhealed on your end? And how do you need to account for that? So, does it mean taking a moment to consider things before you say it, or deciding whether response is the right thing to do? With this 10 of acorns in the reverse, it feels a lot like this 10 of crystals in the reverse. And the feeling that comes from this is, it could really be beneficial to give things some thought before giving them too much of a response. And I'm not saying withholding a response in an emotionally dramatic way. Just think before you respond to anything. If you receive a communication from your person that you were not expecting, or communication on a level that you were not expecting, think about it for what it is, before you respond to it. And think about how you want to respond. Make sure you understand the tone that it's coming in before you get too deeply into that. But we've got the Knight of Feathers here that says whatever needs to be said, you're going to have the capacity and the wherewithal to do it. So where we see that Strength card in the reverse and the fears winning out, it doesn't necessarily mean that's the way things are going to work out, because you'll have, and same for your person, but you'll have these realizations, these moments of clarity that are also mixed and matched with the ability to move forward. So I feel like that's what the Chariot energy affords you. Just be careful and try to enable yourself to have good balanced thinking. So your thinking may be able to help balance out some of the emotions in this sense. It feels like there's a turning point, like I was saying before. Let's get a little bit farther into this and just understand what else you need to know in the time of this moon, because this feels like kind of the time around the end of the year here, which of course we know it is. You may be presented with something that again feels like an opportunity that is feels like it's a little too good to be true. You're encouraged already. We started to get some advice. Ooh, what did I drop? It fell face down. Let's see. You're already starting to get some advice that you may be receiving an opportunity or a shot at an opportunity that looks like it's a little too good to be true. Um, but you're encouraged not to get a little bit closer and figure out what it is that you're dealing with. Don't feel like you have to make a rash decision, but also with this Nine of Swords here, it's kind of don't overthink it. You could be given a situation that enables you to do a lot of overthinking, where really a simple amount of thought will do. King of Wands in the upright, there's still some controlling energy in this. I don't know what I think about that for you, because it's like so your person has come through some changes, and we can even see that some of those changes are very positive. But if they come your direction and you can tell that they're not healed, or they come your direction and you're not able to be healed enough to interact properly with them, what you might view as properly, there could still be, watch for the potential of this forward movement starting to feel a little bit more like control. We do have something that's not yet over. So I know we've been seeing the world. We are still coming to the end of a cycle, but there's a piece here that isn't yet fulfilled, and something that isn't quite over. A lot of inspiration in this energy. So this is not an unpleasant moon. So as the cards were first starting to come out, they seemed a little bit dark, a little bit almost unpleasant. But I have to say, with this Page of Shells, this is not an unpleasant feeling. That's a feeling of inspiration, of being able to communicate, and almost being able to communicate with a light and free sort of balance. We have Temperance right here. So this could be a moment in time for you and for you guys. This could be a moment in time where you actually have the ability to have some communication between the two of you and have it be, feel kind of a little bit like springtime. So, depending on where you are in the northern hemisphere right now, if you're in the northern hemisphere, you will notice that it feels a little bit like springtime in a lot of places, even though we're supposed to be having winter right now. Very warm for this time of year. But this is all about the way it feels. This feels like actual springtime, no matter what the weather has been like. There is truth coming out, honesty coming out, and a feeling of vulnerability that wants to come forth. I don't know. It feels like it sputters a little bit, but it also feels like it's very joyful. The thing that I will say is it doesn't necessarily follow all the rules. So you may have a person who is feeling very joyful and starts to move in your direction and doesn't even seem like they're that unbalanced or unhinged about it, except that there's still something of a third party situation going on here that simply hasn't been resolved. So they're just not playing by the rules with regard to that. With the Five of Crystals, though, there's that feeling of this is healing, but it's figuring out what it is you need to heal from, and it's healing that you can bring yourself, and you being anyone are the only person who would be able to bring it for yourself. However, it usually isn't something that happens all in one fell swoop. It's something that instead takes a lot of effort, and usually you have to see it a few different times. So there is a sense of new pieces being opened by, this is healing in the area of the big three. So that fear of rejection, of abandonment, of betrayal, these are things that only you can give yourself, but this is the opportunities for that to come about. With the Six of Acorns here, it means it's kind of a sense of the energy being in motion right now, not anything that is yet resolved. So be aware there could still be, I don't feel like it's super negative stuff. So I feel like you could be moving into a tower situation, and maybe even one that you are disinclined to move into for some reason. You might be wanting to push that off a little bit. I get the sense of that with this world a little bit. Like you don't want to rock a boat somewhere, but you still want things to change. There is a new perspective for you here, and it's one that I feel like is unfolding. So I understand that it may not be completely unfolded for you just yet, but this is the sense of that new perspective starting to unfold and things starting to make sense to you, but in a different way. And it's relevant to this soulmate. So something changes, and all of a sudden the energy between you starts to change and it starts to mature in a way. You've got this King of Shells here in the reverse. King of Shells, it's got a feeling of something falling out of balance because because of this shifting, because of this evolution, something new wants to start to develop and really just kind of feels like it's falling out of balance. So it really, okay, so as much as this is, and I'm drawn to this World card again, as much as this is a place where you are coming to an end of a cycle and moving into something new, it really does feel more like I was saying before, like a turning point, and more like something that isn't yet complete kind of spins you into that new direction. So you are wrapping something up, you are finishing up a cycle, but you are moving, you are flowing directly into the next one. No time to stop or, really even reflect. And that may cause you to sit down. You may need to sit down and do a little bit of meditation, do a little bit of gathering your thoughts, because it may feel a little bit overwhelming. May feel overwhelming, at least for a short time, but I feel like you make short work of it. New opportunities are making themselves possible. The thing that you need to watch out for is that there may be some of you who are not any more available than they were before, if they were unavailable. So they're not any more available than they were. However, they may be, with this not playing by the rules feeling, just be aware that they could be opening themselves up for something that constitutes misbehavior. And it may not be the sort of misbehavior that you're looking to want to participate in. So that energy is there. I'm not saying your person is a person who cheats or anything like that. I'm just saying that the energy is there. So just something for you to be aware of as you navigate this. Let's look for additional information about you, additional things that you need to know, places for you to focus, given what's on this table. We know that you're moving through, your own healing process. And we also know that it is a many-faceted healing process. So sometimes looking in here, we're just trying to say, ask the question, what is the piece of that healing process that most needs focus today? What is it that needs most of your focus as you're working through this piece? Looking for some place that you've not quite invested in yourself, but for whatever reason you've decided that that's okay. Okay, we have, I saw this and I almost started talking about it, and then I realized, no, I'm not supposed to take any more than the first one on there. But yeah, so with this one, this is a feeling that you're moving in a good, solid, strong, wonderful direction, and that seems like a fantastic thing, except that it is also mixed with you've got some places where you need to invest in yourself that you might not realize that you need to invest. So don't allow this to manifest in overconfidence because you're moving in well, that was interesting, in a good direction. You've got the moon here. Kind of underlines or underscores what we were just saying here, what I was just feeling. This is, you are moving in a good direction. Recognize that there are still going to be some corners that you need to pull up here, even though your direction is ultimately very positive. Don't allow it to result in some sort of overconfidence about where you're going to put your next steps. And mostly that is because you aren't always able to see where your next steps are going to go. So you've got some illumination that is coming your way, but also a lot of working with less information than you might feel comfortable with. And I get the sense that a lot of you are quite good at working with less information. And I don't feel like that's necessarily a problem. Many of you have already matured in that way, but it's tough sometimes when you're navigating a situation that is a feeling, it's an emotional situation, and you're trying to figure out whether you have enough information to move forward. So you've got the Magician in the reverse. There's this realization that you're just not in control of some elements of it, some aspects of it. Like sometimes you're given, like the ball is in your court, and then other times you just don't have the control over the situation. And when you don't, it's okay to be able to just kind of sit back and let it happen. Let it figure out what it is that needs to happen. With the Knight of Crystals here in the reverse, this really feels like, so the Knight of Crystals is like Knight of Pentacles. It really feels like kind of a stopping and starting sort of energy, or just kind of an inconsistently moving kind of energy, where it's, with the Knight of Pentacles in the reverse, sometimes I don't get that sense of it's eventually going to get there. But with this, I still do, I guess. So when you get some of the cards that come out, you'll feel some of the elements. If you read, you'll get some of the elements of a card. Most of them come out the way that the card is oriented. But sometimes, like with this, I've got some elements of it in the upright that also kind of want to come out with this. Just like with this Magician, I actually don't feel like your hands are completely tied, which is one of the reasons I did not say that. But it does kind of feel like you're not in control of some things, which is legitimate. But with this Knight of Crystals, in the upright, it often feels like something that is a slow, steady progress. It is eventually going to get there. In the reverse, sometimes I feel like it's not going to get there. I still feel like it is in this case, but I don't feel like it is necessarily steady progress. I think it's still slow, not consistent, and not steady, but generally still making progress. Can't complain about this. Curious to see what else is going to come out for your areas of focus because of what we've been seeing lately. So you've got the Chariot. This is about working to direct some of this energy that comes your way. There's a lot of very good, positive energy that comes in with this moon. And so sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to direct and a little bit difficult to figure out, what you should be doing with it. But I think in the case of this, it is a matter of being conscious about and intentional about the way that you want it to go. So you've got the two of shells, ooh, and the six of shells, you guys. Okay, so you're gonna be prepared to be basically something gets proposed to you as an idea of partnership. It does seem like it's a little too good to be true. You have to decide how you're going to take this, how you're going to bear witness to it, what your thoughts are. Definitely spend a little bit of time thinking about what has happened in the past, where the red flags were. Some of those red flags may be gone, and that may shock you a little bit. Um, be aware that there may be kind of a new level of emotion being asked of you, and you may or may not, with this Ace of Shells, feel like you're ready for it. You may or may not feel like you're ready for it. And this Two of Crystals feels like I'm just going to set it down because I don't feel like I'm not waiting for it for something else. But with this Two of Crystals, it feels like it kind of throws your balance off for a little bit. But the question is, for how long? It's going to be something that you're not really seeing for the first time. So it's a matter of what you do when you run across it this time. Are you going to be in a position kind of better off, better able to handle it? With the Eight of Acorns, it says that it kind of comes at you quickly, and that you may feel like you need to have a rash response to it, because it feels like it hits you at a time when your energy is already moving fairly quickly. So you may find yourself in a place where hopefully you can be gentle in that energy, because it may put you in a place where you have to make a decision about the way you want to move going forward. You are encouraged to, not make any rash decisions, and to try and slow things down for yourself a little bit if you have that opportunity. And I feel like a lot of you will have that opportunity and may just not realize it. So if you feel like something's coming at you, and I feel like this is a little bit of a continuation on yesterday's question, but if you feel like you've got something coming at you and you aren't quite sure how to take it, give yourself a little bit of time to kind of think about what that could be, what that could mean, what you want to do with it. You have a sense of a situation where emotions might surprise you, not just how deep they are and how much they hit you, but also how much you don't necessarily feel prepared to manage them. Um, you may find yourself kind of being able to sympathize with your person a little bit on this. So let's get you an oracle card, an oracle moon card, before moving on. Since we've got our last full moon of the year, and this one's a full moon in Cancer, like I was saying, it's a full moon that is a turning point, and oftentimes full moons can constitute turning points, or a new point in a new direction. That this one is definitely no exception in that regard. It's got that feeling all over it, but it's very hopeful, very clean, very positive. And so this one says, void of course, moon. Nothing will come of this situation. And what this feels like here is kind of easing your mind a little bit if you're afraid that you've made a rash decision in a situation. So let's say your person has contacted you and you feel like you made a rash decision in the way that you came back. Don't worry. It's not going to be the end of the world. Nothing's going to come of that. So that's kind of what I feel like from that. If you're sitting there worrying about a situation that you are not sure what impact your actions will have had, don't worry, because it's not going to change the way that things were. Certainly not in a huge and meaningful way. So those are the messages that want to come up for today. I think I'm trying to decide what we want to do for tomorrow, because we need to get a little bit of a feel for where your energy is headed. We knew that your energy was growing throughout the end of the year. Now we're close to the end of the year. We've seen some really amazing things from you. But I think, I want to do my thank you reading. I just recently hit 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is way, 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 way beyond my wildest dreams. And I do a monthly thank you for you, and I, definitely want to make this month no exception. So I want to do that, and I may do that one for tomorrow. But I think, this is maybe what it is that is coming your direction, just kind of what is headed here in the energy for you. Um, and particularly, what do you do with what you're left with right now after all of this and in the energy that you're in right now? So, whether it's the thank you reading or not, I think that's kind of the direction we're going. Anyway, thank you so much for being here with me for this, and I look forward to seeing you again in tomorrow's reading.